Hi, I'm David Charney from eLearningLocker.com. So we're often asked how to put together an e-learning module that prepares someone to use a simple process. So I thought maybe I'd play around with some animated GIFs and storyline and see what I come up with. First I sat down and tried to just draw out what I wanted. I wanted a very simple navigation and make sure that the name of each process step was very clear. I wanted a clear video of each step. And I wanted this video to keep playing until the learner felt comfortable and ready to move on. I also wanted a very simple status indicator for each video. Since it's going to play over and over again, I wanted someone to have an idea of where the video started and where it ended. Then I threw in some additional things. I wanted some checkboxes so that the learner felt that they were accomplishing things as they moved from step to step, and I wanted a place for some additional information to be written if needed. After planning, I wanted to take videos of each step. Whether you're using a smartphone or a DSLR camera, keep in mind a couple of things. First off, what's your key action for each video? Focus on that, and make sure your camera's in focus too, your lens. You don't want a blurry shot. Also, make sure any unnecessary things that might kind of distract the learner are out of the way. Finally, make sure that your lighting is nice. You don't want a dark scene that, again, distracts from the learner experience. And seriously, there's a lot you can do with a smartphone. Just prop it up against something, make sure the scene looks good, make sure it's lit, and start recording. Here we are in Storyline 2. This is a rapid prototype, so I will take you through it, but there are likely better ways I could have put this together. First, I'll publish this and take you through the learner experience. We start on step 1, and this short video will show you what to do, and it'll continue to loop until you understand what's going on or you're following along and you've completed the step. Then you hit this, I got it, go to the next screen button, and it'll move on to the next screen. Now I went with a very simple user interface design for this. There's a white box behind the video, and on each step you're on, I have a white box behind it that kind of reaches out to the video box so that they're connected, so that your focus is really on the step you're on and the video. So the video loops, and it just continues to play the short little video clip over and over and over again. And while it might be pretty simple to understand how to open the scanner, you can imagine a big piece of machinery that has a tiny step that you're unfamiliar with might be a lot more complicated to kind of recognize and pay attention to what you're supposed to do. So to be able to loop it and show on a position indicator where the start of the video and where the end of the video is could be very helpful for someone to be able to pay attention to what's going on. And if they're following along, they can see it again and again and again, so they can look at the actual machinery and hit the button or adjust what they need to adjust, and to make sure that they do it right before moving on. I originally had tried to use Storyline's seek bar, but it was kind of so big here and took up a lot of space, and really it was so disconnected from the video up here that I felt that your focus kept getting taken away. You kept looking down here and then back up, and then down here and back up. So having a really thin little indicator that has a little bit of transparency on it, I thought was a much better end result. Then I've got a little area here, additional description if needed. And when you move on, you can click either got it, I got it, move on to the next slide, or you can click on any of the other steps on the left. And each time you do click a new step, previous steps have a little check mark now in the box. And that's really it's part of the learner experience I wanted to create, add a little bit of achievement, very simple, but someone will recognize that they're checking off each step as they go, and it could drive them to keep moving through and feel that little bit of accomplishment. So I'll just keep moving on, close the scanner, great, got it, next, scan the slips. So I show how to very quickly do that, how to hit the button in the actual software. So we go from 1 through 4 is actually dealing with the hardware, the scanner, but then on scan slips we jump into the software, and so different recording method, but it's nice you can jump from a mechanical interaction to a software interaction. And then I'll move on from there, and then I end up on this kind of this results screen. Nice job, you've completed the training. And then you can exit the course, or you can go back and review, click on any of these steps again. So now let's jump into Storyline and show how this was put together. So the title here is on a master slide. That way if I need to edit it at any time, I just have to do it in one place. Now I keep each actual step or, little video clip on a separate slide here. You can see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this is the results screen here. Now on each slide I have the menu on the left, and really, this is a rapid prototype. So I threw it on the left and it ended up being copied across each slide. This really should be in the master slide. That way if you need to make a change, you can change it in one place and it affects, everything. Right now, if I had to make a change, I'd have to go back and change it across the board. Or if I had to add a trigger or change a trigger, I'd have to change it on each slide, and that's obviously not a best practice. So in the future, I'm going to go back and add this to the master slide. The video, which is an animated GIF, is on a layer. There's a trigger over here that says hide layer when the timeline ends and show the layer when the timeline ends. So what that does is when it gets to the end of the layer, it will hide the layer and then show it again right after that. And that creates a loop. Now you can usually set the GIF to loop in the software that you're using, but I've seen a little bit of crazy results in different browsers, in the Flash version, in the HTML5 version, and even in the program that you use to output the GIF. Sometimes it just acts a little bit different. So what I wanted to do as a kind of a fail-safe is to actually cause the layer itself to stop and start and really force that loop to occur. And then under the settings, I have a couple things set. Reset to initial state. I noticed just when it's set to automatically decide, it just didn't work the way it really was supposed to. So I had to set that to reset to initial state, and I had to set allow seeking to no. So Storyline does not have its own status bar component that I can drag around, position where I need it to be. And I really wanted this indicator here right under the video, so I had to create my own. It's relatively simple. There's a little thin gray box with a little bit of transparency here, and then I've added a motion path to that. And if I click on the start point here, you can see I dragged the start point way back so that the end of the little rectangle here is at the beginning of the video. So you'd only see a tiny little sliver of it, and then it'll animate over. So it'll animate this bar right as the video goes for 5.6 seconds. It'll take to get from the green dot here to the red dot here. It'll slide over, and what I do, and I'll explain this in a second, is I mask out what you'd see here, so that all you see is this little black bar moving across this video window. So under path options, there's direction, and direction is really ease. I don't quite like the word direction. This is the ease of the motion. So out would be as the clip moves towards the end, it'll start to slow down. In and out is kind of backwards. It starts slow, speeds up, and slows down again. We don't want any of that. We want it to be none, which is like a linear, consistent motion. Then, as I had mentioned, just double check your duration. Ultimately, we're going to duplicate this slide, and you have to come up here and make sure that the duration is the duration of your GIF, or it just won't match up right, and it'll look messy and confusing to the learner. So finally, I'll click off of this, and all I did to kind of mask this out, I created a gray box, box the same color as the background, and a little sliver of a white box here, the same color as this background. And then you got to just kind of match it up, and then once you run it, you won't see this bar at all. You'll just see it from here to here, and it'll look like this bar is just increasing in size as the GIF plays out. So once I built this slide and I was happy with how it worked, I was able to just duplicate it, 5 times here, and import the new image, the GIF, and again make sure that my motion path for each of these bars here, these little status bars, is the right length, and adjust any text I have here. And that was pretty much it. Make sure everything's linked and goes to the right spot when you click on it. And then finally, I worked on this nice job page, which, this could be anything. You can make this a knowledge check. You can move it on to, some other course, whatever you need to do. If you like this video, hit the like button. You can also subscribe so you know when new videos are coming out. You can also check out eLearningLocker.com for any of our templates and tutorials and videos and downloads and and all things e-learning. So I messed around using animated GIFs or GIFs, if you're a GIF speaking audience.